This is Dead Serious, a show about short horror stories worthy of discussion. I'm Dead Palette, and I'm reading some SCP entries. Cow milkers? Crow milkers? Crow milkers. At this moment in non-time, we're going to be taking a look at SCP-1423. Now, if you have not seen the previous episode, where we tackled SCP-332, you might want to listen to that one first, because it relates to this. I'm not sure how directly, but these things are all related at the end of the day, and these ones are very closely related. Likewise, after this, I'm going to be tackling something that directly references this, SCP Files Remembrance. But let's jump in with item number SCP-1423, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-1423 is to be contained in a standard containment locker located in Site-77's Safe SCP Wing. No personnel are to come into physical contact with SCP-1423, and any who have done so are to be treated as cognition hazard victims and removed from active duty. Personnel assigned to research SCP-1423 are to be given full psychiatric evaluations every 4 weeks to detect if they have been affected. Not too much information to break down right there, other than the fact that it is going to affect you in some mental capacity. Let's read the description. SCP-1423 is a Polaroid photograph circa 1976. It depicts several unidentified teenagers and is believed to have been taken during the summer of that year. The message, "We had a great year, haven't we?" has been written on the back of SCP-1423 in charcoal. Okay, well, there's something strange and bothersome about that, and maybe it'll be explained later on, and I'm just in the wrong here. But in the photograph in question, which is displayed right next to this entry, if you're reading along, there is what appears to be a guy in a red t-shirt with a very simple cut and design that is evocative of now, of more modern times, something that you might see from the 90s, maybe the 80s, but 1976 seems to be going back quite a ways. It doesn't seem that the clothing in the picture is the style of that time. Now, I wasn't alive then, but certainly it doesn't seem like what was commonplace during 1976. Whenever SCP-1423 is held by a human, they will suffer a memory-altering effect. Over the next several weeks, the subject will show a tendency to reminisce about the last summer vacation they experienced in high school. Testing has shown that these memories are accurate and that SCP-1423 affected subjects have a unusually high rate of accuracy from these memories. Alright, so it makes people recall these memories more vividly than they would otherwise, and this is a story, an entry, that is dealing with nostalgia in a way that is much more procedural than what we're used to. We're used to seeing a very surface level type of nostalgia where it's like, hey, do you remember Sonic? Hey, Ready Player One? That kind of thing. But the kind of nostalgic stories that I have a tendency to gravitate towards are the ones where it is more personable. It is much more highly specific to a scenario. Like, this was the last summer vacation that I had when I was in high school, and I have these memories about hanging out with these people from the anime club or whatever, that kind of thing. This seems to be taking the kind of approach that I like, but in a much more detached manner. Wonder if this is going to get more personable as it goes on, if we're going to actually see how this can affect an individual and get examples. SCP-1423 affected subjects will attempt to revisit locations from their vacation, such as concerts, cities, amusement parks, farms, hometowns, and will attempt to contact other subjects whom they contacted during that period. When revisiting these locations, subjects will express feelings of regret that they didn't experience as much as they could have. They may attempt to recreate the experience. However, all subjects attempting to do so have reported immense dissatisfaction. So the part that says attempt to contact other subjects whom contacted during that period, it has a hyperlink to SCP-2316, which we will be reading at the very end of our SCP 5-day experience. But in terms of what this is actually saying, that's what nostalgia is. Nostalgia isn't necessarily, and usually isn't, a positive emotion. It's a negative emotion. It's a feeling of loss. It's a feeling of wanting of a different time. And this is a much more accurate depiction of what nostalgia actually is, rather than the confusing idea that it's a positive emotion. It's a feeling of loss. It's a feeling of regret, where it's like, man, I really wish that time didn't pass me by so quickly. But let's press on. Following this change, subjects will become highly possessive of SCP-1423, claiming that it documents their experiences. They will begin experiencing dreams of idealized versions of their vacation, which will increase in clarity the longer they possess SCP-1423. In several cases, SCP-1423 affected subjects would begin keeping journals based on their dreams. If SCP-1423 is not removed from the subject's possession at this time, they will neglect all activities that do not relate to SCP-1423. Again, all of this is really hitting the nail on the head about what nostalgia is truly about. Nostalgia is something that will keep you from progressing. It is an inhibitor. It's kind of like a depression where you don't even know you're in a depression. Now, that's not to say I don't like nostalgia. It's a fun thing to enjoy, just like I enjoy creepy things, just like I enjoy gross out things, just like I enjoy sad things and violent things. But there are negative connotations that people forget about because nostalgia can feel good to indulge in, and it's an obsessive thing. I'm sure, like, I'll give you an example relating to anime, a thing that I don't have as much interest in anymore. Sometimes I will listen to a song from an anime, and then 2 hours have gone by where I've just sat in front of the computer listening to songs from animes, just going down a rabbit hole and feeling all sorts of past emotions of a time when I was more infantile and appreciated Kingdom Hearts more. These kinds of feelings are great at the time, but they do have this subsuming quality, and there is this undercurrent of, there is something that I've lost. Now, there's a healthy way to do that, where you forget about something so that you may remember it and enjoy it again like it's the first time. And on that note, I have a video in the description about creepypasta and nostalgia and how those two things relate together and how you can effectively utilize those to write a more effective, realistic horror story about nostalgia. So definitely check that out when you're done with this. Also, there's that possessive quality there, that SCP-1423 is mine, and I need this, and I need to devote my life to it and neglect all other activities. That is, again, something that nostalgia will do to you. Anyway, however, after 3 to 5 months of exposure, subjects will begin to document major alterations to their dreams. Subjects may report elements not found in their vacation, instead claiming that they are no longer able to remember their dreams properly. They will continuously attempt to utilize SCP-1423's effects, with each dream becoming longer and less related to their original experience. This effect will persist indefinitely. SCP-1423 was recovered from the home of Redacted, who had been reported missing by his neighbors. After local authorities reported on SCP-1423's anomalous effect, Foundation personnel were able to intervene and suppress the reports. Class C anesthetics were administered to witnesses. However, redacted had been previously administered anesthetics in 1976 after he was present at the Kirk Longwood High School trip during incident SCP-332-A. Class A anesthetics were given to Mr. Redacted, and investigations into the connection is ongoing. So it seems from this passage here that the photograph was owned and probably contained pictures of friends from someone who saw the incident at SCP-332-A when there was the marching band coming into existence, playing the Synscope Symphony instruments for the first time. I would assume that since this person had previously been administered anesthetics back in 1976 and they were witness to it, then this had only been in the hands of one individual, which I'm not sure how I feel about. I think it would make more sense if it got passed around in some way and we saw these effects on other people. Otherwise, how would we know that this had anomalous properties? Perhaps what this is saying here is that because Mr. Redacted was reported missing by his neighbors, some of his neighbors saw the photograph and saw that it had anomalous effects attached to it. I'm not entirely sure. I'm a little fuzzy on that. But maybe that will be cleared up here. Addendum documents recovered from SCP-1423 affected subject. So this seems to be written by, it's not clear if this is written by Redacted himself or a test subject that they gave it to. Because it just says subject. It's not clear whether it's a test subject or redacted. Anyway, it's endless and it's never ending. And all those other words are for too damn long. We've got our vans and the road ahead, but we never get anywhere. We're always closer to the concert. Well, it's a concert today. Yesterday we were heading to Miami to go and see the Coral Castle. Last Tuesday it was Washington to get together with the suffragists. Suffrage? God, that ain't right. We ain't right about anything. So that's the end of one document, and it seems as though they're trying to recollect. They're recollecting seeing suffragists march, and they're upset that they know that that's not right because they're not living in the time when people were fighting for women's suffrage, or it's that he doesn't think women should have suffrage. I'm not sure which one that is saying, but anyway, next document. I really want to grab Jerry by his fucking face and yell, "Hey, we're never going to get anywhere. It's just the same shit, you dumbass. When do you get there?" But he won't hear because I won't say it. I'm relaxed here and rolling through the hills of technicolored grass and farms. We passed the Void Farm about 11 times yesterday, and every time it had the same rusty gate out front. I think I saw someone resting on the porch once, with depraved, hollow eyes that followed down the road. It wasn't swamp gas. I almost look forward to class now. Class? God, I haven't thought about going to class in months, maybe years. Maybe seeing that tightwad Nathan and his stupid face and rusty glasses. Maybe. Not maybe. Man, I used to want to punch his mug every time I saw it, with that dumb, oblivious grin. Shit, if I saw him now, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe, I don't know why I keep inserting the word maybe. We'll be at the concert tomorrow anyways. I can't wait to see Amy again. So that's the end of that document, and I'm getting confused. There's one more document after this in a footnote. I'm getting confused because it seems to be written as a first-person narrative instead of a documentation of a dream. Are these people living out their dreams? Are they delusional? Because these things don't seem to be happening in reality. and it doesn't seem that maybe they relate to what was happening for the person in the photograph or the person who took the photograph. It's really kind of unclear, but perhaps it's designed that way. But I wish there would be some clarity as to what these documents are purporting to be about. Maybe we will get a fuller understanding with this last bit right here. Roads go on, climbing up the cracked highway. Jamie tried to buy his back his soul with a dime he found under the cushion, stuck it in like a penny arcade, and watched him spin. The sun's ahead of us, burning and crumbling, with a light dancing between the trees lining the road. They aren't trees, really, more like puppy dog tails, wriggling in the wind. Found the postcard from Dad again. Hope my vacation will go as good as the one he took. I hope he's wrong. Right. Footnote 1. Subjects who never attended high school or never had a summer vacation will report the last summer they experienced. So if someone down in the comments could give me clarification as to what is happening in these 3 documents, that would be great. If they could clarify whether it's redacted, or a test subject who is experiencing them, or whether it's 1 test subject or 3, that would also be great, because I'm a little iffy on those things. Let me know your theory down in the comments below. But overall, I would say that I really enjoyed this. I'm not sure that I'm supposed to know definitely who wrote these documents, and I think that is just telling us that these people become delusional, and you can kind of see a little bit of a keeper's diary going on here, a little bit of Itchy Tasty, where it starts out in a sort of poetic way, but talking about very concrete events. Then they get more surreal with hollowed out eyes of a person standing on a porch in technicolored grass farms, and then it just goes into full-on dark, depressing metaphors. That was a cool little trip to take, but join me next time when we actually look at remembrance. Back in the description beginning of SCP-1423, when it says the message, "We've had a great year, haven't we?" There's a hyperlink to a set of files called Remembrance, and we're going to explore those files. Some of them are pictures, and so you're definitely going to want to click on those and take a look at them. The other ones are written documentation that we are going to read to further delve into this rabbit hole of the marching band, whatever ology is 5. Now, if you enjoyed that, consider helping out the community and supporting my channel. You can support the community by conversing in the comments below and going to creativehorror.com. That's creativehorror.com for more horror-based podcasts like Darkly Lit, a monthly podcast that delves into horror literature, like an online book club. Each month they read a different short novel, graphic novel, or publicly available online story. You can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr down below in the description. Thank you so much for your time, and now on to our sponsor at this non-moment in time. David Cage. David Cage. Sexual harassment is a failure of the game designer.